Hello, good morning, good morning. It's really sunny behind me. Yeah, so the Zoom, I think was so when we go ahead and build in these meetings, we schedule them for far out. And I believe when you schedule it that far out, you might forget, all right, we scheduled for the next 50 dates. And when the 50th date is done, Zoom doesn't exactly notify me and say, hey, your webinar is the last day of it. So I went to go ahead and join today's, and there wasn't one present, and that was a little odd. And then I realized there wasn't one scheduled. Like, there are no more webinars scheduled from today going forward, because we did our 50, right? So that's not, it's not the end of the world, right? Like, I was able to just schedule this one. I just need to go back and then schedule the next 50. So me being on today at 10:03 means that for 3 or 4 minutes, I was like hair on fire trying to find out how to set this up. So what I need to do now is set up all the ones for the next couple of months. So everything is okay. I see that we have very, very few number of people on, and that's totally my fault, because even I tried to come on to the webinar and it said, all right, webinar done, webinar finished. And I'm like, no, it didn't. I'm right here. Like, I'm hosting the webinar. So sometimes Zoom tells you something and you're like, no, it's not, I'm here. So this is really, we'll just go ahead and post this in the YouTube. And so for the people that are there that watch it, say, oh my God, where was it? Oh, okay. And it just makes sense. Because especially with RHINO, the commitment that we've always made is that we're always going to be right here. And anytime that comes into question is a time that I feel like we're failing, right? So I'm always right here. So anyway, let's give a couple of updates. It's gonna be a really super short call, because everything's going good. It's funny when things are just going good, and I'll write this to our team members, steady as she goes. And every time I write steady as she goes, I always feel like, all right, there's always something more we could be doing. So actually, this is that example. I want to say steady as she goes, and as I was getting mentally prepared, like, what's this webinar going to look like, or this meeting? There are always things we can do better. So one of the things that we can do better is one of our RHINOs, Gary, emailed me earlier this morning. He goes, do you know that on such and such website, RHINO Bucks is listed as a rug pull? It says, do not invest, this is a rug pull. And then the visual rug pull, like everyone's there and then you pull out the rug and everyone's like, oh darn, like that didn't work out well. So rug pulls are bad, you stay away from those. But the website that listed us as that, they don't know us. Like, they just know our metrics, right? It's a new coin, it's been around for 2 months, it has some liquidity, not a lot. It says in the contract that we're able to mint more coins and we haven't renounced certain things. And that's all contract stuff, right? Like, when we put it together, we just threw it together, we got it out. And I don't mean throw it together as like, well, Aunt, you're not a child. Like, some things you need to protect your butt on. Yes, of course. In the contract, though, it's something that we're able to revisit, I think. And although when we did build the contract, there were certain features that we had to go ahead and check off, or, whatever. And being able to mint more coins was something that we always said, it's 1 billion coins, no matter what, done, done, done. So it really confuses me why these sites are, well, this site is saying that. But actually, this brings me to my larger point. Ooh, see that side? It brings me to my larger point. That when it comes to RHINO Bucks, we need to do better in terms of registering and having good relationships with I guess you could call them auditing websites, right? Like, there's plenty of websites that one can go ahead and say, okay, I like this Anthony guy, I like this RHINO. Let me go check into RHINO Bucks. Let me do my due diligence before I go ahead and invest in it. And upon doing their due diligence, they're going to find a whole bunch of, oh, this is a red flag, red flag, red flag. And that's not fair to the person that was considering us. It's not fair to the person that recommended that person to consider us. And it's not fair to RHINO Bucks as a whole. Because if we're not putting our best foot forward and we're not checking all the boxes, crossing the T's, dotting the I's, then we're effectively hurting our growth. Because if we don't allow everyone who meets RHINO to have a good experience of RHINO from day one, then that's not good. And even to the point that one person might say to that person, hey, I know the website says this, but I know Anthony, which is true. Like I could trust this. And the person says, yeah, I get it, but I don't know Anthony, therefore I can't trust this. And then a year or two goes by and everything works out just the way we said it was. And then you go back to that person and say, see, I told you. That's an uncomfortable conversation too, because that person didn't do anything wrong. That person did their research and their research panned out and said, more times than not, this is not a good idea. Now, of course, that person's going to say, yeah, I wish I did get in, because they have the benefit of seeing the results. But to put someone in a position where they have to look back and say, I wish I did this, now puts them in a bad position going forward, because the next opportunity that comes up where their research pans out and says this is a bad idea, they might use the case of RHINO and say, well, I don't want to make that mistake twice, let me give it a shot. But their research was correct. The next idea was a bad idea. Their research is correct here. All things that are able to be seen on the internet say, okay, stay away. And it's not because any of these people know us. They have no idea who we are. But because we didn't go ahead and make sure that the, coin market cap effectively registered us, like that we have the stuff with them for them to have a good relationship with us, this crypto site or whatnot. So the point of the story is next week, I believe, maybe Monday, if I have time. See, John, one of our core team members, he's away. He's just got married and he's taken 10 days leave. And if I could describe our relationship with John, he is one of the more brilliant, just out of college, full degree, used to go to college for theology. He wanted to be a pastor. So he has that really strong moral and ethical background. Just got married, and he's spending the next 10 days with his lovely bride. I haven't met her, but knowing him, I'm sure she's lovely. But to describe John, he's what we call our Swiss Army knife. And if you remember, that's how we used to describe Abigail. In which case, the individual is so smart and they're so easily able to adapt because they're young and they're a sponge to anything. So what I was looking to do was, when he had gotten back, I was going to put him on this project of all things RHINO Bucks. Anyone that has anything to say, let's go ahead and register with all those websites, build the relationships with them, because it is our job to make sure that anyone that experiences RHINO has a good experience. Because it's one thing to say your community built and led, and that's our growth. And that's all well and good. That's the easy thing to say, right? Like, it's very easy to say, okay, we're community led, everyone get out there and go. And then everyone feels like, all right, well, if we're really community, I'm the community, I have to do my part. And it's very unfair for me to put you in a position where you may not succeed, right? It's not okay for me to put you in a position where you go ahead and speak to someone, they do their due diligence, and now you have a conflict. That person says, I've done my due diligence, I just don't see enough. And now you are speaking passionately because you know RHINO, and you say, no, but I get it, like, listen. And now that you create a conflict, because now that person, which conceivably is a friend or a family member or a neighbor, doesn't want to talk to you because you're speaking so passionately because you know the outcome, and they're speaking so logically because they're trying to reduce the risk of a poor outcome. You're just combating. Neither one of you are going to move because I did not create the bridge to allow you the ability to win, or not win, but to mobilize that individual, to activate them. So everything is going super, super good, to the point that we're now able to go ahead and take a look around and say, what can we do better? And that is one of the things we're going to do better. So next week, I don't know how long that takes to solve, right? Like, I don't know. Yeah, thank you, Michael. I don't know how long that does take to solve. Like, can I just register it somewhere, or do I need to speak to someone, or what's the line? In which case, I'm not posing that as a question. Like, we're going to learn that. But it is a really, really big thing that we need to do. And when I say community, that we're community led, this is what that looks like. You, the community, share with me, and this is something we need to do. I go ahead and say, okay, let me go get that done. I get it accomplished, and then I pass it back to you and say, okay, is everything good? Because that's the relationship that we have to have for this to be successful. In fact, I was talking to Eve, one of our rhinos, yesterday. We had a call at 3:00, and she goes, it was an hour call, right? Like calls with Eve always go long because she's fantastic and so many good ideas. But one of the things she said was, Ant, this is so cool. Like you really do put everyone in a position that you've created this, you've given it to everyone, and like we have the keys to the car. And I said, yeah, well, I trust you. Like that's what community is. I can't run this and say, I know everything, therefore you do this. I can, like I say with my wife, you have complete power over everything. I just want veto power. Like I'll always follow your lead, but if something gets to the point that I feel in my heart, it's not right, I just want you to trust me to say, okay, let's not do this. Regardless of how passionate you are about it, if I truly feel in my heart that's putting us at risk, just kind of trust me on that. And that's how I feel about RHINO. And to go ahead and assimilate you from RHINO to my wife, it means I love you. I really, really do. So the points being, I'm going to trust everyone. Like, tell me what is best and let's do it together. If there ever is something where it's like, oh, I don't agree, I just want veto power. Like, for instance, when we built the search engine, a lot of people were like, Anthony, local, this 20-mile thing, it's really not good for us. We need to make it global. And now every one of those people have come around and said, I see it now. I see what you saw. And that wasn't me dismissing their advice. It was me just saying, I get it, I do, but this is core. Yeah. So anyway, this is a State of the Union. Everything's great. The coin made another new all-time high today. Our members are at 333. Our high is 334. So let's build that up. And our marketing is right around the corner. So like we said in the emails, RHINO is RHINO. It's been organic, word of mouth. RHINO Warp Speed is coming in December, where now the marketing is positioned to go ahead and invite everyone from the outside in. And that's when we believe we're going to double membership count on a weekly basis. And plus, you have the holiday season. Does anyone think that RHINO won't come up with a really cool idea of how to grow membership? We have items, we have merchandise, we have a store, we have coin. So we'll put it together. And automations. So I spoke to Steve last night and they're done. Now, I know I said that last week, but all week he's been really, Anthony, we need to do one more thing. He told me we have it solved. Like, he's super comfortable with it. So I told him I always like Mondays to start new things. And he said even better, he could, check it for the 7,400th time this weekend, which is fine. And Monday automations are done. Coin was sent out yesterday for Wednesday and Thursday. No, for Tuesday and Wednesday. Yeah, for Tuesday and Wednesday. I think I wrote in the email Wednesday and Thursday, for Tuesday and Wednesday. And then coin for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday will be sent out Monday. And then, thank God, finally, the automations are there. So they'll just, in real time going forward. I do have a call at 10:15. I have a call at 10:30. So let me run. I'm 1 minute over, 6 minutes over on this because I can't stop talking. I love you. I'm going to post this. Everyone's going to be like, Ant, I thought you were gone. No, never. Love you. You're stuck with me forever. Bye, guys.